Hi, my name is Marquise Parker, and education matters to me because it gave me hope for the future at a time when I really didn't have a whole lot of hope. And it's just kind of pushed me forward over the last 20 years to things that I never thought would have been possible. By way of background, I'm from a really small town in Virginia, really rural, kind of out in the country, one of the places where I had a lot of big dreams, but I didn't have a lot of examples of people who'd done what I wanted to do. And there were some family things going on at the time, and I could just remember growing up thinking, wow, this is all I know, and I want more, I want to do bigger things, but I just didn't know how to get there. And for me, it was all about hitting the books. Didn't grow up rich, didn't have a lot of money, and I figured if I was going to be successful, I had to make it myself. My mom always told me that college was the way that you can build a future that goes above what you've seen. And fortunately, senior year of high school, I decided to apply to Princeton University on a whim. Got in, and that was the start of the rest of my life. But I guess I'll tell a story. A few weeks after I graduated high school, I was at my after-school job at the local grocery store, and older white guy comes in who I'd seen over the last 2 or 3 years working there. Thought we were friendly, and he asked me, Marquise, you just graduated high school, what are you going to do? And I said, I'm going to go to Princeton and study computer science. And mind you, I'm 17 years old, smiling ear to ear, so proud. And he looks at me and says, wow, Princeton, do you mean Ivy League Princeton? And my response was, there's only one, right? And his response back to me was a big laugh, and he looked me dead in the eye and said, not only are you a funny spirit chucker, but you're a smart spirit chucker too. And for those who don't know what spirit chucker means, it's this old school racial epithet against black people. My grandmother had told me all about it. I'd heard other things throughout the years like that, but it was just, it was like the man had punched me in the face, punched me in the stomach, kicked me in the back. I was so proud to be going off to Princeton and ready to be working towards something that I thought was going to be a great life. And still, I had this old white guy telling me I'm going to be, telling me I'm a funny and smart spirit chucker. And my only response was to kind of chuckle, because otherwise I would have hit the guy. And he looked at me, turned around and said, oh, you must not know what that means, and walked out laughing. And that day, I think it was like July 13th, 1995, I decided I wasn't going to be anybody's spirit chucker. And I didn't know how I wasn't going to do that. But I figured as long as I was going off to get education, there was some way for me to be able to do it. And from then it was just all about the people that I met from the time I hit Princeton in September '95 to now that just took an interest in me. Friends of mine who couldn't understand half of what I said because of the country accent I didn't even know I had at the time. Their parents, professors at Princeton, just folks that I met once I started my career. I can't say I've ever had a mentor that watched me over time, but I've had a lot of people who took the time to coach me on something and just give me advice and give me feedback. And those people helped me get to where I am today, where since the day of that spirit chucker story, I've graduated in 4 years, got my computer science degree from Princeton, I earned an MBA from Stanford, earned 2 other grad degrees. I spent time working at McKinsey & Company, preeminent management consulting firm. I spent a little time in private equity, and now I'm a VP at a Fortune 500, and I'm not even 35 yet. It's been a wild road, and it was a road that I never would have been able to travel if it wasn't for the education that I was able to pursue. So how can I wrap this up? I guess the best way to wrap it up is a few words of advice. If you're a young person in middle school or high school, and life doesn't seem to be going the way you want it to, just know that education is a way that you can get there. As I think back to 13-year-old me, 14-year-old me, there were a lot of times I just wanted to give up because there wasn't much to be excited about and wasn't much to look forward to. But I just kept hitting those books because I knew something was there, and I encourage you to do the same. And if you're an older person, an adult in your career, I would encourage you to give back however you can to young folks, not just kids in high school, but college students, people who might be out of college and they're earlier in their career, and give their feedback, because you never know what background people come from, and there just might be things they don't know. I think about the 21-year-old me when I graduated college. I didn't know anything about how to be a business professional or to be in the professional world, because I'd never met anybody that was in the world that I was walking into. And even now, I get feedback all the time on things that I don't even realize are issues. So just take the time to, if not be a full-on mentor, just give a word of advice, give some feedback, share your experience, because you never know how much you can shape the life of someone who might put a lot more significance into what you say than you might think it deserves. And with that, I just say, chase education as hard as you can, and know that good things will come in the end.